what are some things that you might recommend? What if as to a new grad that what can they do to gain that experience they need to work in this area?
I think it's a combination of listening to conversations like on podcasts and having conversations as well. So it's one thing to like receive that information, and then it's another thing to try to use that information verbally. And that's one thing I learned like when I started my podcast. It was like, oh, okay, I have all this information in my head. And then when I went to go say it, it was a lot harder, like explaining my thought processes, using the medical terminology. Yeah. And so having the conversations is really key. So having a small group of other SLPs that meet monthly or online or whatever, and just talking about case presentations. And so, and part of that is, having a network and having maybe a mentor or somebody who is working in that setting who is happy to bring a case that they've been working on and talk about it with you. And it might be a couple people, it might just be two people. But I think listening and talking about these things are really key, and not something that is, at least having the conversations isn't something that's just out there, you just insert in. That's something you're going to have to be proactive on and build and initiate.
When you actually have a great resource on your website that is for this, which I thought was so lovely. And I'm thinking, oh, where was this when I was getting out of school? And it's the Future Colleague Collaborative.
Mhm.
And I think this is such a wonderful idea and really touches on everything you just said. Can you explain to our listeners what that is? Because I think this is a wonderful resource for anybody who is looking to enter the medical field and learn more about it.
Yeah. So the Future Colleague Collaborative was born in the age of the pandemic when, if you were a student at that time and you had your externship or internship cut short, if you were in the medical setting or even in school based, suddenly you're like, oh, like I came here to get this, experience in the real world setting. And now they're telling me I can't come in. How will I get this experience? How will I feel prepared and confident in my skills if I don't get to test it out before I graduate? So, to try to support our student learners who will soon be our future colleagues, um, we created this gathering where clinical SLPs would present on a medical or school based topic for 30 minutes. Well, within that 30 minutes, they were going to present on the topic and give like a case study. And then, as a listener, you would use your critical thinking and use the knowledge that they had just presented on to process through that case and talk about it. So, like, we held it on Zoom and also a Facebook Live so that you could participate in the Facebook Live by like typing in your answers and your questions. And then the speakers signed up knowing that it wasn't. A hope that they would also be available for fielding follow up questions and being available as a source to the students who chose to participate. Even though it was geared towards students, I saw a lot of my colleagues join in as well and were like, wow, I just learned something tonight. Like, this was so great. And I love that as you've mentioned, Alyssa, like we're constantly learning, and I think we learn the best from each other. It's one of my favorite places to learn is from another SLP. And I don't look for SLPs that have more time experience than me. That doesn't always equate to like, oh, well, they must know something, and think that SLPs with less time experience than me don't have as much knowledge. Like, no. One of my first guests on the podcast um, was only in the field for like 3 years. And she came on to talk about working with the ventilated population because she worked in a facility where that was really abundant. I know next to nothing about that because I work in a facility that doesn't have that. So, really, your experience is what you're exposed to. And because we can have such a wide interaction, you're going to meet people who know a lot more about something than you do, and vice versa. Like, we can fill in each other's gaps.